Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. Today, I'm very pleased to bring you my 2023 year-end panel of talk show hosts and experiencers to review the year. Together, we take a look at what was the most crazy-making things we observed in 2023, what we learned, what we predict for the upcoming year, and messages of support for you, my audience. Join Chris Mathieu of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, Brandon Thomas of the Expanding Reality Podcast, and experiencer Elsa Dillon of starbeings.com as we discuss the year in review and make some predictions for 2024. All of the links can be accessed through the description box below this video. Please do leave us a comment, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends. Chris, Brandon, and Elsa, welcome to the Quantum Guide Show. How are you guys doing today?
Outstanding.
Hey, Karen.
Hey,
I'm great. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. It's an honor. It's an honor to share space with you folks. It really is. Now, I just did a brief introduction today, so I thought we could start by doing a go around, and please offer the listeners and the viewers any more information that I missed out in the introduction, things you want to tell people. And let's start with you, Chris.
Hey, Karen, thank you so much for having me back. Welcome, everyone. This is a beautiful panel. Can't wait to get into this. I am host and creator of Forbidden Knowledge News, the Forbidden Knowledge Network, and I recently produced and directed the Forbidden documentary, Occult Louisiana. We'll be working on more films. You can find all of our content at our website, forbiddenknowledge.news. We're available on all podcast platforms and Rumble and Rockfin as well. So thanks again for having me back.
My pleasure. Elsa, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about you?
Hi, Karen. Thank you. Nice seeing you guys. We're family of 10, and we're all experiencers, the whole family. And yeah, we've just been coming out and sharing our story with people. We're not, we're like the rest of everyone. We're not meant to be in front of the camera, but here we are. And yeah, so we're just sharing our story. Hope that it makes other people feel sound in themselves. And we keep saying, that's what we're here for. We're a sounding board for many people because we've been doing this for 30 years. So we're really used to it all. So it doesn't really shock us anymore or affect our bodies in the way. But we can see others going through it. So if we can share and help, that's what we do. So.
Awesome. Brandon.
How do? Thank you so much for having me, Karen. This is so cool. Of course, all of these people here I absolutely love and adore, and y'all are all close to my heart. One of you has even stayed in my home. Guess which one? It was Chris. So congratulations, by the way, Chris.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Tell folks why if you want, but congratulations. Also, Elsa, your amazing daughter painted this incredibly cool cover for these journals that I have, which leads me to the answer of your question. Brandon Thomas, I host a show called Expanding Reality as well. I founded a publishing house that I'm publishing the shit out of these amazing journals through, and as well leading us into 2024. As a little spoiler alert here that I'll announce here, we're going to start doing our in-person events called the Expanding Reality Excursions, and somebody else here is going to be a part of that as well, which is really cool. So we've got big announcements coming on the way, and so just huge things happening with the show, with the publishing house, with the events, and just getting amongst them, getting in person, So it's amazing, and I'm grateful to be here. So thank y'all so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
And I also want to give a special thank you to Chris Mathieu, because without you, Chris, I would not be in the position I'm in today. I wouldn't even be friends with Elsa or Brandon. And of course, Frank Castle, I want to give a shout out to him. He couldn't make it today. He and his wife got some kind of super bug over Christmas. And so all four of us are sending our healing energy your way. But, Chris, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network and have such wonderful, wonderful friends and community. And I just want to give you a great big thank you. It's been just humbling and awe-inspiring.
Oh, thank you so much. This whole reality is surreal, and the path that I've been down has been So wonderful. There's so many blessings and so many wonderful people that have come across my path, and I'm so glad I get to share all of it with all of you. So thanks so much.
Okay. So I was thinking, let's start off by doing a round where we each talk about the weirdest thing that we observed in 2023. And I guess I'll start. And mine is from the arena of politics, Canadian politics. I'm in Red Deer, Alberta, which is in Canada. And the weirdest thing, well, there's a lot of weird things going on here, but the weirdest thing is they had in the House of Commons, it was fully packed with all the politicians. I don't know what they're all called because I'm not that much in politics, but all the different levels of the politicians were all there, and they invited a man, and no disrespect to him as a person, but they invited a man who was part of the one of the fiercest and most malevolent Nazi soldiers from World War II. They invited him as a special guest, and they gave him a standing ovation, 2 standing ovations, and they all clapped and cheered as he did his Hail Hitler salute. And it was so bizarre. And, it really shook up my paradigm, which actually is constantly being shook up because it needs to be. But I think that what's happened and how it hit me is, how could this be possible? And I think that the ruling class, I don't know what you want to call them. I don't want to call them elites or Illuminati because I think that they're actually a parasite class. But I think that they play games with our reality, and they kind of dare each other to do these really stupid things to, number one, see what they can get away with, how unobservant or asleep or resigned to just give up the population is, or maybe they just do it as like playing games, the way teenagers would get together and dare each other to do stupid things. It just shows such a lack of quality of humanity. But the good news is I have no faith whatsoever in this parasite class or the ruling authorities. And I just believe the best thing I can do is withdraw my support energy, even my focus from them, and let them basically give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves. I won't participate in anything that supports them, but I'm certainly not going to believe in them or take them seriously because it's beyond ridiculous. So that's my little experience, that I just couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe how, and I'm not going to use the word woke because I actually do not subscribe to that philosophy either, but I'm talking about people's just common sense and waking up, having some sense of history, basic history. It just boggles my mind. But you know what? That's their path, and I got mine. So, Chris, what did you observe and it doesn't have to be political; it can be anything. But what was the weirdest thing you observed in 2023?
Well, I'm not sure if it's weird. I'm having sort of a difficult period here, but I think it's all for the best. I think it's all supposed to happen. Just to add to what you were saying, one of the realizations I've had, not this year, but over the years, is that there are no heroes on either side of the political spectrum. Even in the global realms, any of our global leaders, there's no one here that has each of our individual best interests in mind. And I think that there's so much compartmentalization in what's happening that even the most powerful elitists, globalists, politicians don't really know the bigger picture of what's happening. They have their direct orders, they have their direct ideologies, they have their direct desires of what to implement, but there is also a larger picture unfolding. There is agendas that really encompass everything that's happened, that I think even the most powerful don't really have an idea of what's really unfolding, how it's all supposed to come together. They just have their direct orders and they follow them. And there has been a division between the ideologies of politics and education and the medical industry, everything that makes up our material world. We've been extremely divided, far right, far left, as far apart as they could possibly get us, so that we don't come together in the middle, because that's where we can make some sense out of things. That's where we can come together and find real solutions instead of being torn completely apart. But it's one of the main things I think people need to realize, and sooner than later, is that both sides, neither side has our best interests in mind. They all have their own desired outcome of where they want to push humanity. And for as far as the strangest or weirdest things that I've seen this year, it's probably in the realms of my own realizations and my own journey. As you all may know, I have been going on profound vision quests for the past couple of years, growing my own plant medicines and discovering things about myself and growing emotionally, healing traumas, and finding out the most optimal path that I'm supposed to be on. Well, as of recently, I've done so much work getting to the heart of my subconscious traumas that I've recently uncovered lost memories, childhood traumatic memories, things that have occurred in my life that I had shoved so far down that I didn't even remember about them. And because of my diligence and fearless consciousness exploration, I've started to uncover them. And many of them are very disturbing, and many of them are very hard to process at this time. So it's kind of like another dark night of the soul that I'm going through right now. I'm in the valley, the trough of the hero's journey right now, once again. And I think that throughout our lives, we're going to go through these ups and down cycles, but this is due to the information that's come to light. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to tell anyone some of the things that I've uncovered, possibly soon, possibly never, but I have to process through these things because they are going to determine the direction that I'm headed for the remainder of my existence and what I'm going to be doing with my career and my films and this show. So it's a very pivotal point for me, especially this year, this Christmas. And also, Brandon said congratulations earlier. That's because I've recently become engaged with my girlfriend, Jennifer, and she's just the most wonderful person I've ever met, the most incredible human being in the world, and I'm honored to be engaged to her and soon be married with her. So that's one of the amazing things that's happened this year. And other than that, I have hope because the wokeism seems to be being slowly choked out in some areas. More and more people are awakening and not participating in nonsense. So we've got some dualistic things occurring, and I have my own type of existential situation that's unfolded that I have to work through. So, and some of the things that I've uncovered have been revelations of why I am who I am, why I am sitting in this chair right now, why I'm a broadcaster, why I'm interested in some of the things I am, and why I have been pushed to do some of the things that I've done and question some of the things in my reality. So there's a lot that's happening. And as I'm able to process through it, I'll probably be talking about it more and discussing it more and probably integrating it more into my shows and films and things like that. But there's a lot more to remember and discover. So that's where I'm at this year. And it's been interesting, to say the least.
Well said, well said. And congratulations. I'm over the moon happy for you. I can't think of a nicer couple that you found each other in this lifetime. How wonderful is that?
Thank you.
How wonderful. So, Elsa, what have you observed going on planet Earth this year that is either weird or just something you noticed or something you want to share?
My weird is 3D because to us, the weird stuff that happens to us is normal. And so when I go in public, that is weird for me. So this year I was on stage, you know, in a ET conference in Australia. You just go, really? So I'm out there now, really, really out there. And what has been the most bizarre part of this, like exactly how Chris said it, is I've had more dark nights of the soul. They're not as intense as the first one, but they come up, right? And they go, okay, you're going to clean this up. Are you going to clean this up? And sometimes it's not meant for me. It's for my partner or my children or some of the pets even. Or the neighbours, like, or the shopkeeper. These dark nights of the soul might be triggering in them, and I'm around them. So what I found weird about coming out in social media is that the dovetailing or the connecting or the tapping into the stem of all of us, and then they're texting me and saying that they'll be remote viewing things we're doing or things that are about to happen, and the connection and the speed of it is way faster than Google. Like we're talking to the seconds now. So I've got this butterfly effect, and the butterfly effect is not happening just in our day-to-day. It's also connecting throughout many eras in history. So I'm finding this really peculiar. I'm sharing this with the audience today because this is like the next part of it all. Because if we're doing it and my kids are doing it, they'll be doing it. I mean, if you're healing with plant medicine, this is what we've been doing. You'll be doing this. This will be happening. It might not happen exactly the same way, but that's okay. You're not meant to do it the same way. You do it through the essence of you, and this is what we have to come back to. Sorry, I'm not trying to hijack what Chris said, but we've got to come back, and what Karen said, we've got to come back to our common sense, because it is ridiculous. This is what we laugh all the time, how ridiculous the world has become, which is great because we don't look ridiculous now. So we go, real. Yeah, we're ridiculous. Look what you're doing. Look what you're doing to your body. Look what you're doing to your kids. Look what you just did to that person that you walked in front of or you cut off with the car or that animal. Like, look what you just did. Really? Am I that ridiculous? You know, I'm smiling. My kids are healthy. I'm healthy. You got to come back to our senses. And this dark void that we're feeling at the moment, this pivotal point, means we're turning it around. This is the pivotal point. And if you're feeling this pivotal point and this stalemate, you're there. You're there. And we keep encouraging people this, you know, you're there. This is the pivotal point. It's the turn. It's the return to what we are, collecting the info, like Chris said, collecting what needs to be dealt with, the anchors, so you can release them. And these anchors now are not anchors, they become your shaft. The shaft is your spinal cord that goes up, comes past your reptilian brain and comes down to your pineal gland. So you can either use your memory as anchors in time, and it will keep you there if you choose, or if these things come up for you, then it becomes your shaft. So you become a shepherd, you serve yourself. And this is the greatest power, because the power is within us, but we've just been told it's not by the crazy ones. And they keep, that's what the other thing is. The media and the movies that come out prove everything I'm saying. And it's like everything that discredited me is now crediting me, which is great. So That's the weird part for me.
Wonderful. Yes, it is weird. And I really hear what you say about the dark night of the soul. It's like I used to go through these deep, profound, dark, it seemed to be never ending dark nights of the soul, but now things are quite quick, but it still happens, but like layers, but they're much easier for me to deal with, but I just go with it. What can we do? It's part of our evolution. So, Brandon, last but not least, what have you observed, and what would you like?
I wish I could say something different, but Dark Night of the Soul this year, pretty damn hard, like the hardest ever. And so it's so relatable beyond words. Chris, what you're going through, brother. And if I could be here, and you got my number, dude. But it's dark as shit. I almost quit I quit a bunch of shit. I just almost quit this show, but I didn't. I simplified. There's a purification process that I feel that I encountered and experienced, and it was going to happen either way. Almost like being like squeezed through the grate of something you're far too large to fit into, but you're going in it either way, and it was fucked up. So, yeah, on the other side of that, I don't know what the other side of that means, really. I don't know that I'm exited it. Maybe I've just gotten more comfortable in it. And I wouldn't gonna honestly bring it up, Karen. I know that this is my third time to be on your show, and I'm grateful to be here. But the last 3 times has been just like, this place sucks. It's a prison planet. It's ran by Archons. Fuck this. And so I was actually gonna drop a little bit more. I don't know, just something lighter into it. But shit, we're here, and I love it. I mean, we go where the conversation is, and here we are. So yes, it's dark and it's fucked and it's heavy and it's real. And this is something that not a lot of people in the New Age community I found were talking about whenever I considered myself part of that community. And it was something that slapped me on the face like a huge dick that I wasn't ready for. I was just like, I'm not into that. And it was just like, and I wouldn't have been a fan. And it's taken me a while to stand back up, but I'm different. You know, I'm navigating this place much differently. I do not have the boundless hope and optimism I did. I do absolutely have no fucks what happens to this place. These people are on their own as far as I'm concerned, but if you're in my path, you will absolutely receive whatever this is, the light that I have to give. And I'm not some turd who's a piece of shit to people. Obviously, you all know me personally. But beyond that, I would say that I'm definitely operating from a very detached place with the outcome of anybody else. Like, y'all go nuts. You know, I've, like you said, Chris, the political game, I'm done with that shit. I've been done with that for a long time. Either side of it's a losing side in my mind, the way that my mind sees it. And so it's never been louder out there. And what I feel that really I'm going into 2024 with, and this is sort of, I guess, my guidance, I suppose, for myself, really, so I might as well just speak it into the mic, is to be distraction proof. And what I've learned by what's going on out here from my personal observation is the thoughts. And the thoughts are not yours. And that's an important thing that I had to really come to understand is that it's not me thinking and yelling at me and saying those things and directing me in that way. And once I realized that you shine, the best metaphor I can give is you just shine light on it. Just like something in the corner of a room that's dark as shit. You shine light on it. At first, it's just a mass. And that's what this form of this evil or these mud shadows, as Castaneda called them, this formless adversary is what it is, really. But it takes many forms in the shadows. But the second you shine a light on it, it needs to structure and organize, which is against chaos, which is where it exists. And so you reframe it and then you empower yourself with the wisdom of it. And so this is where I've been, is that it's a lot of dangling keys out there is how I put it. There's a lot of things out there that are just looking for your attention. And the more you give it, it's never been more important for you to focus on your energy, your attention, or any of that stuff. Now, it doesn't matter what you do, because this place is not built on morals, so I'm not, gonna rope people into some ideology that I don't even fucking subscribe to. What I will say is be very clear and sure how you feel about what you feel. Yes, Sam always has to come in. So be just very clear on how you feel about things and move forward with clarity and confidence. As Jesus said about before he went and flipped over the table with all the bankers on it, he was cursing out a fig tree to never grow again. Now, what did that fig tree do? What did he do? He murdered, right? He murdered something. He killed some life or something like that. The point is, he was certain about it, and so therefore it was dead by the time he got back with his rant. And so the idea here is to be very certain, but also walk with, like Chris said, in this path of middle. The idea here also goes is that You're going to maybe discover some dark shit along the way. When you shine your light in it, it's going to pop out at you. And it's like, the idea though is to not offer it fear in return. It's to offer it the observation and just to let it move through you like weather, to say you're not a part of this. I do not consent to this. You just move on down the line. When you don't offer it any kind of fear, and it's sort of like, I don't know, more preferred experience with the interaction, it fucks right off. Like there's no power to be given to it. This applies to now this idea, though packaged small, is scalable AF. So everything you can think of, any authoritarian type of a hold that you feel that you may be under, and just glance at it, shine that light on it. It takes form as an illusion, which then you see as just you're that, you know, elephant perhaps chained to a little folding chair. You've just been chained to a pole the whole time, and you didn't know that they swapped it for a folding chair, which they did, and you can just get right out of that thing. So it's a wild ass place, and distraction proof, I feel like I said, is sort of the thing. It's awareness, it's focus, it's clarity. It's really being very clear about how you feel about things. It doesn't matter what that is. Just be very clear. Be outer influence proof as well. Stop, perhaps. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. This is not advice. This is just where I'm at. Again, talking to myself here. You know, stop. You know, a great mantra to have would be rather is the comparison curse is dead within me. And this realization that all external things are perhaps got nothing to do with you. They're just maybe in a toroidal field, even as a consideration. That's just you're manifesting as an adversary, as something to conquer. Then rise. You know, now is your time to rise above that and to see it for what it is. Shine light on it. And Karen, I wanted to finish up here, but I was looking up a couple of things while I was listening, because I'm a kinetic learner. I can do both. Karen, I have the ability to share my screen at all?
Sorry, I was muted. I
That's
can
okay.
make it so that you can, I believe.
Yeah, if you don't mind, and I'll just
Yeah,
kind of,
let's
while you're
just
doing that,
go,
explain that. Like I said, this place is really all about the apprehension of your perception. And one thing I would like to show, just an observation of that, is recently I had somebody on named Human Vibration. Highly recommend her Realize Radio. She's absolutely fascinating and fun. We talked about this idea of our vision and the way that we receive information. Most people don't even know your prefrontal cortex, that your mind actually, your optics runs through and filters through consciously before it shows you to interpret what it's saying. It's almost like a quick way to think about it is your mind is set up in a way to redact what it really sees before it hands you the paperwork of what it actually sees, or you interpret the image rather. So that's already built into your mechanism, and I think that that's, from my personal opinions, how the contactees report these screen memories, these apprehensions. I think that it's sort of filtered in that process where there's a vision lag, and then there's other components that take place, but all of it could just be code anyway. But to further my point here, this idea of a diagram of binocular vision, and for the audio-only audience, check the link in the show description. She's probably got a video up there. And here's another diagram here. Just want everybody to kind of pay attention to this idea of what it looks like, a cross-section structure of your ideas, and then even how your eyes perceive light and the whole thing. Then what I want to show you is the idea of the third eye, perhaps, and then maybe this cross pattern being something being integrated, of course, with your two physical eyes and one other. What is it? I have three eyes, two to look and one to see. This could perhaps be something interesting to integrate into this process, but back to the binocular vision. If we look at this again, we do have some interesting correlations to this in our reality. Again, with your entire everything out there, the idea being that you're being perception managed to some degree, meaning that you don't actually see what you're seeing. What you're being presented is not altruistic as well. It's full of all kinds of subversion and nonsense. Looking at the pattern again of your eyes, then we look at the sigil of Lucifer, the light bringer, also the seal of Satan. Now this, if you look at the correlation, I don't have them pulled up side by side here, but from memory, we could see that the binocular vision gave us the two eyes here that received back into our cranium there, but this pattern of coming out, viewing a reality that's and then coming back at us is reflected in this sigil and this symbol as well. So it's just interesting when we talk about the apprehension of consciousness and how your eyes work and how they project and how binocular vision works, and correlate it to the ancient symbols of that which is to, you know, I mean, the light bringer, but also the deceiver, if we're looking at both, if we're being fair about both energies here. Another thing that's interesting to note, and then I will absolutely turn this back over, and I appreciate this time, is the penumbra, I think is what it's called. The P is probably silent there. But the way that the sun and the moon play with the earth if this is what's going on with our system, which I'm not convinced of, by the way, but it's just another interesting correlation to that which we are being told, which also spins at 66,000 miles an hour and is 66,000, you know what I mean? So all the satanic imagery that goes along with this model, but it's an interesting thing to think about. And yeah, that's it. That's what I was thinking about.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Now, I wanted to add something, and I want to get all of your thoughts on this. You were mentioning, Brandon, how you would focus on primarily yourself and those that come across your path and those that are in your life, your friends, your family, your loved ones, things like that. Well, I just recently had to relearn a very tough lesson that I thought I had down, and I even preached it myself. That is helping folks who aren't ready to receive the help themselves. And I have a very close friend, and we all know who this person is. I'm not going to mention any names, but it seems like the direction they're headed is somewhat of a spiritual regression. And we've been having lots of conversations. And because I care so much about this person, I've been inserting my own ideologies and insights into his situation and where he's going. And it backfired and blew up in my face, of course, as I should have realized it would have. But this is another part of what I'm dealing with. And it's not just this one person. I have many very close friends and family members who are seemingly regressing in some ways. I was very excited for the longest time with the perception of the awakening, the global awakening that's occurring, where I had this perception that everyone was just on the upswing and we'd all be ascending. But no, that's not the case. They have a lot of people, even people I'm very close to, who are involved in this community, who are involved in the spiritual community, the woo-woo, the occult and paranormal and all that. And they seem to be kind of shifting into a different perception and reality that seems to not be serving them. But I unfortunately tried to bring it to their attention and it backfired in my face. So that's another thing that I think that we're all dealing with right now, is feeling like there's something we should do to help these people, but knowing that there is nothing we can do until they're ready to help themselves, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And starting next month, I'm going to do a series on shadow and light. Starting in January, it'll run the third Wednesday of each month for 4 months. And of course, it will involve a panel each time, but we're going to talk about what is the shadow, what is the shadow? How does that manifest for us? How does that hold us back? What are the advantages of taking a look at it? Then we're going to move into ways that we do shadow work, because a lot of people are just so they're good people and they want to do good stuff, but they think they have to be all light and love all the time, and they're rejecting that whole side of us. So really, Chris, I think that evil exists in each one of us. It's just whether or not we want to feed it. Similar to what Brandon was saying, and Elsa and what do we want to feed the trolls? Be they on the internet or be they in our heads? Do we want to feed them, or do we want to get on with our focus? I want to apologize for my background. I had some sun shining in and it was causing some lighting issues. So I shut the curtain and then my background disappeared. So anyway, it's all good. But so I wanted to talk even more in depth, give each of you a chance to talk about what we learned this year, because I think it's really important. And the thing that I've learned this year is how united we are, and how many of us there are who are seeing things very differently, where we've had the courage to step outside of the construct or the mainstream. We've made observations. We come together, we talk about our ideas and our observations. And wow, it blows me away when so many people say things that I couldn't, discuss with relatives or even neighbors. But here we're all over the world and we're experiencing such similar observations and feelings and things. So what I really learned this year is we're really not alone. There's so many of us. And again, through social media, I've been able to make contact the way I can't in my hometown for a number of reasons. Like what Elsa was saying, it's very surreal for me to go out into the social reality because it's so weird. And I mean, I'm not saying that the people are weird. I'm not saying they're not good people. I'm not saying any of that. They're salt of the earth. I'm sure they're wonderful, but their reality is so far removed from mine that I just, quite frankly, don't even know how to proceed, because I don't want to upset people or force my opinions. The other thing too is, do we, and this gets into what you were saying, Chris, do we have a right to wake other people up, to draw their attention to stuff? Or is that truly their path, and in their own time, in their own way, they'll find that way? I don't know. Like, that's something that I've had to deal with. I used to, just blurb out all kinds of stuff that I thought was helpful, and yet it was actually quite paradigm shaking to other people. And I ended up sometimes causing more harm than good. So I've stopped and just give them their respect and try to stay quiet when it's not an environment, where I want to divulge my alternate reality. But there's so many of us, thousands and thousands of us, more and more every day. And it's really exciting, because that's a big thing that I want to speak more about in the new year, is there are other realities. The mainstream is not, it's a starting off point, but it's sure not all that is. And it's way not valid, at least in my reality, not valid and not real. There is a more real outside of. So that's sort of what I've learned. But Chris, I really feel for you, because yeah, we have the best of intentions, but I think sometimes it's good to say, that we care about people, we want to share something with them, but at the same time, it's totally their responsibility and their business, I guess, how they deal with it, and not take it personally. I don't know. Do you have any more thoughts about that?
I don't, but I'd love to hear what Elsa and Brandon have to say.
Mm-hmm.
You want
Ladies first, mate. Yeah.
or Brandon? I'll go. I just wanted to say, because of Karen and Brandon's interview, and it was so heartfelt and so real, and then Chris as well, and and Karen's there working the way through the interview while they're having dark moments, and that brought me peace. So you don't know what your words do. You might never know what your words on your shows do for people, and sometimes they will rattle people. But you can't walk around with a filter on either. And this is what's great about all your shows, is that there is no filters. Brandon said, all right, we're doing this again. And so this is what showed up for all of us. In astrology right now, we're in the dark. We're in Scorpio, who deals with the black tar, the bile, the darkness in us and in others. So this is going on for them, you, me, and everyone around the globe. So everyone feels it. How can you not? So by hearing, you can go back and listen to the records of these shows. You go, wow, that was me. Oh, that was me. That was me. And then you go, okay, I'm not crazy. I just have to be like Brandon said, I have to detach. And this is a key point. And this is one thing I've had to do multiple times through my life, including this week, is detach. And the more you detach, you're detaching from the what you perceive, like the visuals that you think you see. Once you detach, you become a witness, and it doesn't seem to affect you the same way. And you almost feel that you aren't showing emotion, because you're so used to being on this emotional roller coaster with everyone, and you become, it's not that you're insensitive, it's just that you're just not going to be part of it. And so you don't do the dance with them. You don't come into their spin and get all stuck in their orbit. You keep your own spin going and go, okay, I love me enough and you enough. I am going to allow you, I'm going to give you the space to spin your own spin over there. And I'm not going to interfere. And I love what Chris said. You think you can help someone and it backfires in your face for a reason, because we're not here to be light workers. The light knows what to do. The light, we're solar. We shed light, but we're not light workers. The light knows what to do. So keep sharing, being you, the fullest version that makes you feel good, the fun of you. And then if they choose to, they will follow or, pick something out. And it's unconditional. And this is the tool I say to the kids. Is it conditional or unconditional? So when someone's talking to you, if they have a condition attached, usually it's an anchor, and it's their anchors, not yours. So if it's conditional, just go left field and detach. And this has been a great tool for us to use, especially teaching little ones how to do this with others, with not only their age, but with older people. And it works. It really does work. So you say, so my information right now is unconditional. I have no conditions attached to it. I'm left field of it. But you never, like I said, you never know where it's going to go.
Hi guys, break time for a short message. YouTube will not monetize me, so if you enjoy my content and want to support my efforts, help me to cover my expenses by visiting my shop to buy yourself a beautiful orgone generator. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand, and they are ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. Many people are finding comfort with Zendome's orgone generators, commonly called Orgonite. They are a simple compound which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They are a simple compound with alchemic and energetic properties. These devices function as self-driven, continuously operating, highly efficient, negative to positive energy transmutation factories. They help diminish the harmful effects of electromagnetic frequency radiation by attracting and converting negative energies, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. And they help to purify the atmosphere and accelerate plant growth. They also help stimulate positive mood and are a natural remedy for poor sleep patterns. When Orgonite is within range of any corded or wireless electronic device, it will efficiently and continuously transform that energy into orgone as it is being transmitted. This essentially creates orgone energy transmitters out of any and all emitters of harmful negative energy. You can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show.
I could not agree with this more. I'm just like, yes. I was like, yes. Especially this year with dudes. I'll be honest with you, Chris. It's about us dudes being able to come out and say things suck, and I'm crying, like physically crying, dude. And this blows, and I'm not cool with it. Like, there's no need for that stoic, just keep calm and carry on anymore. No, it's freak the fuck out. Feel how you feel. Acknowledge that it's fucked up, and then move past it. Like, but don't stay there. Like, that's really what this is. And to what we're really, I think, talking about here on a greater level, which is what this whole fucking thing's been about in my mind, is discernment. And what you're learning here is how to pull your energy away from things that used to feel great. It used to feel good to help people because they were ready to receive on a level, and there was a lot of interesting energy exchange that went along with that. And it's not to say don't like it's not to say stop helping people. It's to say be mindful of where your energy goes. And there's always an energy exchange when it comes to these things. And so also, not engaging in something without being asked. That was a big discernment thing on my part. I would like constantly be like, "Hey, you're fucking that up," and jump in. And this is a big one. I'm like, "Nope, I'm gonna watch it happen." I'll tell the story because I love my wife and she's amazing. My wife Mary and I walked down to the pond one time. We had this old fish food from when we moved, and we had just moved to the house, whatever. So we had this fish food, and we just didn't want it to go to waste. So we walked it down to our pond. And Chris, you've been here. It's like a good 5 acres to get down there. It's down a hill. The wind was blowing this way. The pond was in front of us. She walked over to the right side of the pond and threw that fish food up. And for a half-second moment, I was like, tell her. And I didn't. I backed off. And she learned that she was standing in the wind. And when she threw this light fish food, it went all over behind her. Not a drop hit the pond whatsoever. She may as well just throw it out in the front yard, right? So she looked back at me and she said, "Did you know that was going to happen?" I said, "Yeah." And she was like, "Is it because the wind was blowing that way the whole time?" I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Why didn't you say anything?" I go, "Because you didn't ask." And so that's where I'm at with this. It's not to be mean. It's not to be cruel. I'm literally at a point where if you don't fucking ask, I'm not going to offer it. But when you do ask, know that it's going to come from a very authentic place. And this is where you're able to not then give out false energy to people, where you kind of give these ancillary considerations because you're people pleasing in the moment and you really want good things, but you know that the track that they're, and it's all convoluted, and already we can see how this funnels up to nonsense, right? And so to simplify, because that's all a distraction, to simplify, it would be just to offer pure authentic energy 100% of the time, or as much as you can. And so therefore this like small talk, these little things, this little stuff, even Christmas this year was very different for my wife and I. We took and again, what we're talking about here is discernment and boundaries is another thing I wanted to bring up. To that, Christmas was an important one for me to really set and step and hold to these boundaries. We go in for a certain amount of time to see my folks, and we leave at a certain amount of time. It is always commented on that we should stay longer, and they're not happy about it. It is always commented on there's a bunch of reasons why they think we should be able to do so, but there's a very firm boundary in place for a lot of reasons. It's energy. It's all kinds of things, guys. And so there's a firm boundary in place that I do not step over, though it is constantly tested, right? And so this is another thing. It's boundaries. It's about your freedom and asserting that, having the discernment to know where your energy goes and who you're investing time in, because now you see how precious that commodity is, which is really what all the dangling keys are about. Invest in it here, right? And so when you look at it this way now, your commodity of energy is very precious. And now what's occurred here, and Chris, what you're experiencing is that you are now getting to a phase to where you are loving yourself more than the fear you had before of what other people would think about not being helpful, about any of that shit. You love yourself too much to engage in that game anymore. And now it's another level to the game, dude. I'm like so proud of your level up, dude. I know that this blows, Bubba. And I can't tell you enough how much you've got my number. You know that. And I'm here for you. But man, there is such fucking power in this, dude. It is so awesome because there's no more bullshit. It's just like, yeah, that's what's occurring. Got it. Okay. It's an energy exchange. Everything's out here is after my energy. I'm now just mindful of it. And I do not consent. It's a very mindful practice. And again, with your thoughts, recognize them as what a human vibration in that episode called bullshit, nonsense thoughts. Recognize them, call them out as this. Say, dude, you are a bullshit, nonsense thought, and it flees, man. And play with your mind on this. Really, if you don't believe me or whatever, if you just want to test this. Say, I wonder what my next thought's going to be, and then just be quiet. You'll get nothing. You'll get barely anything, and then you'll start to pick something up, and then think about that thought that comes up. Decide if it's a bullshit, nonsense thought or not. Or not, and then it will flee out. It's this fascinating process of self-examination that I've been undergoing. It's not I've done it, so I'm over it. It's a constant thing, dude. And one of the things I wanted to bring up here while we're talking about this, I'm going to share screen just because visuals are important to folks, and I know that, is this book right here. If you guys have not read this book, Word Magic by Pao Chang, There's a second edition that's out. Either way, it's going to look like this, but the second edition is out, and they're like the same price, so I'd recommend that, right? So highly, highly recommend this book beyond anything. It goes into all of the spells that are being cast around you constantly, all of the words that are being used, and it ties everything all of our shows are about into one thing here. But also it has a very strong independent sovereign component, which is my next sort of where I'm at on my journey now, is breaking free of the parasitic entity that I was contracted into at birth that I didn't know I was, and now I'm aware of it, and now I'm making steps to correct that misstep on my folks' part. It's no fault of their own, but it's just a misstep. I'm correcting the paperwork. One final thing, and I promise I'll be quiet about this, is back to Howdy Mikowski's book, Falling for Truth. He's written a couple of his Exit the Cave. I could not recommend more as well. At the end of this book, there's a series of plates, and this is to what Elsa was talking about our breakdown, and about to where you're going to see yourself from a whole new perspective, like the most raw perspective ever. And what this is the Mutus Liber, and this is a series of 15 panels, but I'm just going to show you the first one and the last one because it's important to what we're talking about here. As to this idea of what we thought we were and our perceptions and where we were going and all of that shit, you come to, or I've come to, the clearest understanding I have of this place is temporary truths, meaning that what I know now, even no matter how sacred or solid I feel it is, it's temporary and it's going to change. And on that, I can see that this process of breakdown and rebirth, this death and rebirth, this awakening, like we're all hoping that everybody's experiencing. Chris, they're fucking not. 80% of them are NPCs. You don't worry about it. I'm telling you, man, they're not even real people, probably. So if you think about it this way, then what you are doing is this metaphor of Jacob's ladder, which is, again, in this Mutus Libre. It's an old series of panels. It's in Howdy Mikowski's book. And if you look here, what it's depicting is Jacob's ladder, right? Jacob's ascension into heaven. And all of this is metaphor. It is riddled with metaphor. But on this panel, you can see Jacob there sitting at the bottom of the ladder with an angel beckoning him up. And again, riddled with metaphor. But if we skip, and I highly recommend everybody check these plates out, even if you don't get the book, but I highly recommend the book, would be the end. This last panel. And what we see here is the ladder is completely on the ground. Jacob's completely on the ground, but what his old self is, and what he's done is transformed into the Red King, pictured here, which is the next level, this phoenix from the ashes, this ascendant being that is now looking at himself 90 degrees from where he was. This goes into then particle physics and vector realities and shit, where they talk about this 90-degree vectoring, and there it is in a plate, but it's also got to do with your perception, this metaphor of ascension, to where really what we're doing is we're breaking down everything, dude, and it blows, like it sucks. It's not a cool thing. It's a cool thing, but it's not easy. It's by no means awesome. It's just you get a strength you didn't know you wanted, right? And so, it's a modus operandi, which we could absolutely argue about all day. Like the way this place functions, I will fucking bitch with you all day. But in my observation, it sort of seems to be this way. And so it's this 90-degree view from an older, dead version of yourself. And you're in this process of this. That's what you see, Chris, man. That's what it is. It's a flattened, Jacob's ladder, shedded skin version of you. The good news is you're deciduous, which means that you have the ability to shed that which is no longer needed, like your skin, your everything. You physically are, because we're constantly reworking our bodies. But in the metaphoric spiritual way as well, like you shed that shit, and then you are ascended, dude. You are in this process, if not already, the Red King, man. You've got this 90-degree look at your life. You see things totally differently. It fucking sucks. It's uncomfortable as fuck, and it's scary as shit. I get it. I completely get it. But I'm telling you that there's a reason that they depict it in panels. There's a reason that it's so sought after, right? And it sounds like that's what you're experiencing. So congratulations. Also, Pluto or Mercury's in retrograde, so that's going to affect your fucking communication with anybody. So no contracts during this time, not until the 3rd, everybody. All right.
Right on.
I wanted to just add one more thing to all the wonderful things that you've all been sharing, and that is a personal experience. I'm an old lady and I have grown children, and they're like 37 and 40 years old, right? And so, when you're a mom, you want to warn your kids, you want to protect them, you want to give them advice, you want to help them as much as you can. Well, I realized that I was actually overstepping a boundary when I was doing that, especially since they're not children anymore. So what I learned to do is to hold sacred space. And I just want to tell everybody out there in the audience, don't ever underestimate the power of the energetic field and the unseen fields that we can also make use of. And so what I do is when I see one of my grown children doing something that I think is going to cause them harm or peril, or they could do it a better way, instead of giving them advice or trying to wake them up, I hold sacred space for them, that they are intelligent, they are on their own divine path, they can figure it out. They have the strength to get through this. And if they do make a mistake, just like if I make a mistake, we have the strength to see our way through it and to find better options and to learn from it. And so I just wanted to also throw that. And that's a little bit like the latter, what you were saying, Brandon. I came to see things from a very, very different perspective and allow them to have their own power. And the same with friends and everybody else. And just because I think it's a mistake doesn't mean in the big picture, in the grand scheme of things, that it was a mistake, right? You can't, and so me just learning to turn that back into myself and to have faith that I've got my own back, that if I make a mistake, I don't have to be paralyzed going, oh my God, I have to make the right decision. If I make a mistake, a mistake is like, an actor on the stage, a mistake. So, they may need 2 or 3 takes because the first one might have been a mistake, right? And so I can allow myself to have some mistakes and then just do some retakes. And what I found as an old lady is by being fearless in viewing myself in warts, bumps, and all, it's allowed me to course correct in the now. And then my future is changed forever for the better, no matter what happens. So I just wanted to also throw that out, holding space, that people are intelligent, capable, resilient. I forget the word you used. Was it deciduous? They can do it, right?
Yeah, to shed that which is no longer needed. You're deciduous. You can move in and out. You can let it go. And that's important for all of us to embody, because you physically are deciduous creatures. It's just emotionally and mentally you're trained not to be. You're trained to hold on to things, to, and then to cope with the things you're trained to hold on to, you're taught to take medications, which is a whole thing, right? And so just seeing it and breaking the cycle is, just apprehend that consciousness. And something you said very important here is something that's brought up here is, well, then, like, what's this place all about? Like, how do you, one way I've been navigating it is to this idea of prayer, and it's prayer to yourself, but prayer to yourself in a way where you're not seeking external deities or external help from anything. You're actually thanking how far you've come, how strong you are, or your path, where you've gone, how you've survived, and then where you're going next. Another thing is to thank things in advance rather than to be scared that they're going to do something. An example would be like a mom telling their kids not to fall out of a tree when they go to play outside, and then what happens? They fall out of a tree. Rather than, like, let's say, thanking the children for being safe and making good decisions while also having fun, they get to explore their world in a free place, but without the conditions and sort of a spell that you cast that doom is going to be inevitable, right? So in the same way with these folks, like my folks or whatever, who feel very differently on every level, you just wish them consciousness, in my experience, and as well just let them know that it's okay, because they can't see out of that perception. And so there's no ability to penetrate it. Plus, again, I feel now I see it as a misuse of my personal energy. And instead, I just thank them for being understanding and thank them for gaining the consciousness and wisdom that inevitably this process that they're on at their point is leading them to. And I'm going to have the help in it and aid in it in which I can. Sort of like the Neil Donald Walsh quote, the only reason you're in the room is to heal the room. You're only in the room to heal the room. You're only in the room to heal the room, right? So to think it that way, though, what does that mean? Because heal is subjective. Like some people, need to be not told the truth sometimes, and it leads them to greater understandings. Or you need to be able to have the energetic and spiritual discernment not to spend energy on something to where that's a process they're going to learn in a different way. You know what I mean? And so it's interesting to navigate this place again. with your ship, but I would say this forward advance of gratitude, meaning that this not projecting fear and sort of what ifs that occur, which is what I was absolutely guilty of, is now I just project like thank you for being so like safe or kind or nice or understanding or any of that shit, right? And so it's a flip. You're thanking them in advance, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add one more thing because I'm going to have to jump off here soon.
Oh, okay.
During my experiences, especially in the past couple of years, whenever I make contact with my higher self and my guides, I'm shown the most optimal path I can be on. And I'm also shown the absolute worst path that I can be on. And I'm told that I always have the option of going in either direction, and the middle may not be the my most optimal path. That for me, it's probably moving closer to the best and most optimal path that I can be on, and that's what my innermost desire is. But I'm shown both of them just so I know what happens if I head in either direction. But lately, it's been this kind of battle where, like Brandon was saying, I've been shown this kind of parasitic attachment that has latched onto me from childhood trauma, and that I have been quelling with self-soothing in certain ways through substances, or hiding or running away from problems in certain ways, self-comfort. And this is one of those things that I have to face head on in order to move to my more optimal path. And this is part of what I'm experiencing right now, is a peeling away of these illusions that I've built for myself through these comfort experiences. And as I'm peeling away these illusions, the truth comes through, and it hurts, and it's very difficult to face some of the trauma and difficulties that I have pushed down from my past and am now just starting to face again. But as I face these things, I can chip away at the more optimal path, and I can head towards that direction and not look back at the detrimental path that I could be on, and just focus on this one direction. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to peel away the layers of deception so that I can focus on that optimal path. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. And I want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you, Karen, for having me back on. This was fantastic. And I'll let everyone know once again, you can find me at forbiddenknowledge.news. That's the website, all podcast platforms, Rockfin at rockfin.com/FKN plus, and Rumble, and our social medias on Facebook and Instagram. And thank you all again, beautiful human beings, and we will definitely talk again in the future.
Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. So glad you took the time out to spend some time with us. Take care. Best wishes.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Love you, brother.
Bye-bye. So, where I was hoping to go from here is, do you folks have any predictions for 2024? And I'm not asking for a psychic prediction or anything like that. My prediction is that we are going to see shit hitting the fan in 2024 like never before. And the beautiful thing about it is it will help me to practice staying in my own power and keep on my own path, but also it's going to wake up a whole bunch more people so that collectively we can take our sovereignty seriously. That is my my prediction. And I guess also we could add to your, maybe you could add your comments, advice you have for the viewers and the listeners. Like, for instance, for me, it's have your own back. If you haven't done so already, start working on creating an internal parent that helps you to have the strength to say no to the bullshit. That could be foods that you know don't agree with you. That could be activities that you know are not in your best interest. It could be people that you know are toxic, and for whatever reason, trauma bonds or whatever, you're still, thinking you got to be nice and spend time with. Whatever it takes to have our own back, and that would be my bit of advice. But I want to turn it over to you, Elsa and Brandon, because I know you've got some great thoughts and ideas for the viewers and the listeners.
So the whole Mercury retrograde, my computer had a meltdown, like full-on meltdown. And so this year my computer has lost all the data twice.
Here.
After being in interviews with people, and then it just shuts down. So I'm going, what? So do you want me to keep doing this? Do you want me to stop? Do you want me to, this is it? I'm quite happy to walk away from this, And they're going, it doesn't work that way. Here's a craft experience that night or something. And, I would like to just sleep, let me tell you. I would just like to sleep. I don't ask for this stuff to happen, but it's happening for me for a reason, and the family, and our dogs, and our cats, and horses, and chickens. It's happening. If it's not ETs, it's a ghost thing happening. It happens. I'm there to visualize it and see it so that I'm okay with it. I'm not in the big hoo-ha of it. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Now can I go back to sleep, please? 2023 in June hit the masculine in all of us big time. And it's been going till now. It'll probably go till, like Brandon said, that date, the 3rd of January. We got the 3rd, 4th, 5th. It depends where you are in the world and who's around you and things. But the 30th and 31st is going to really stir up stuff for everyone. And then it's going to slingshot the other way. So everyone's going to be feeling a bit wigged out in 31st, and then it's going to slingshot the other way, which is going to send people nutso, which is okay. I'm more okay with it. Peace and calm. We are in the halcyon phase. The halcyon phase is the 7 Pleiades. It's the song line of the whale and the indigenous. And the halcyon phase is about peace and calm. So it's exactly what you guys have been saying. You detach and you step aside and allow the storm to happen. And you're okay with it. The halcyon phase finishes with the Mercury retrograde on the 3rd or 4th. Then we have this phase where we have to prepare for the new Chinese year. This is what we believe the wood dragon is coming in. And it's going to come in strong because dragon energy is big, right? And we have to be like the great trees, like the oak tree. And we have to be great, be the greatest versions of ourselves. And if that means not talking to anyone, that's fine. If that means stopping everything you do and changing course, that's fine. Like, you will find your calling that feels right for you. Stop playing their game. This is the biggest one I keep saying. Stop playing their game. Stop saying that conversation that you've had 100 times. Speak your truth. If you're going to ask someone how they are, really ask how they are. If they ask you how you are, be kind and be truthful with them. And we've found that this will be 2024 is going to be a great year. And it's exactly what you said, and Brandon said it in an interview with me. Shit is going to hit the fan, and it's not what you think. It's not what you think. And it really is going to hit the fan, but it's going to be good. So I don't know if that's helped people or put people. I don't mean to give dates. They always say, but it just gives you an idea. It gives me an idea. So, because I always actually forget what date it is or what day of the week. It's always Thursday to me. So it's always been night. Anyway, but when I go, oh, what is going on? Why are the kids rattled? Why is this happening? And I go, oh, that's right. It's coming close to this day. And I go, oh, okay, you know, I understand. And it just assists me a little bit better. Astrology, you can override astrology. Astrology is great because it gives you an idea of what the mass conscious, or we call them the hive, is doing. So it prepares us. So if we do have to go out somewhere, we understand how they might be in that time frame. So, yeah, I hope that assists. Again, it's unconditional.
Beautiful. God, I love that. Elsa, you're awesome. You're so cool.
Thanks, Brandon.
Did I cut out there for a second? Okay. So you wanted to know my predictions? Is this the question then?
Yeah, just what, it doesn't have to, like I said, it doesn't have to be a psychic prediction or anything like that. Just what your gut telling you. And you know how when the leaves start to fall, you know it's time to dig out your heavier jacket, things like that. You know, what is your intuition, your gut, your natural rhythms preparing you for, or if you see something coming, do share.
Honestly, I don't feel that I have that sort of sight. But I'll brand Stradamus this thing for you for a second. I'll tell you that I feel personally that what we all went through was not for nothing, and I think that we all went through some really, 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 really heavy shit. And I think if you can hear my voice, you understand that, you feel that, and you know that. I think though that you also recognize, if you're still here with us, that you're here for a reason, and that it's beyond any of that bullshit that you thought led you to this point of, oh, I'm here for a reason. It's bigger than that, and in a cooler way, but it's different than you thought. And I think that that's what's really going to be illuminated next year, is everybody's understanding of this idea of, holy shit, like we really are powerful, but not in this reactionary way, in a very in a very intuitively guided way. And I think that there's going to be a lot of lightheartedness that begins to emerge again, a lot of play, because I think that that's what's necessary. And I think that the reason that we feel the way we do about this place is because we've been taking it too goddamn seriously. So feel that it's a joke, laugh at it, because that's the one thing that these archons, if that's what's occurring, hate, is this lighthearted approach to, like you said there, Elsa, beautifully, that, you know, you see it and you feel it, but you just don't care. You're just like, yeah, I see you. I know you're temporary and that you're going to pass. And my job now and my main focus is just to stay focused, honestly. Like I said, distraction proof. And what that has, you know, turned out to be in the interim has been a lot of mindful exhaustion. You know, it's exhausting to sit there and pay attention to your thoughts constantly, and to sit there and go, hang on, was that okay? Yeah, you can get in. It's like you have been running a club for a while that now is populated with a bunch of ruffians that you don't want there, and it's changed the vibe of the place. So you're just like, hang on, this sucks. And so you needed to physically step down and go show the doorman how to do his job. And that's sort of where I'm at with this, is I'm standing there training the doorman. Hey, this type of thought is ours. It can come in. Hey, that type of thought, that's not ours. It needs to fuck right off, right? And so giving a little bit of compassion to yourself in the very first, but also setting very clear boundaries within your own mind and how this operates. And I think that that is going to declare a whole new sense of empowerment with people that they didn't, again, a strength you didn't know you wanted, but it's on the other side of all this shit that we felt. And I, like Elsa, have an optimistic view, which I have no right to feel, by the way. If anybody should tell you that this is a prison planet, it's fucked up, this is hell after Christ has already come, and blah, 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 it's me. But I have a level of optimism I can't explain, and that's where I'm at with it. So even after all that dark shit, I have a level of optimism I can't explain.
Fantastic.
I have to laugh. I'm sorry, Karen. I have to laugh. So you've got shit hit the fan, and then he says, "Holy shit!" I'm going, and the kids on our farm are like, because that's the biggest topic that we talk about is shit.
Shit,
and it's the only, it's the main swear word that we use. And you know, like I'll say, "Have you done the paddocks?" And they said, "I don't give a shit." It's like the kids,
Well,
you know, we're shoveling shit all day long.
Yeah,
shit makes the flowers grow.
that is
Shit
true.
is fodder for creative life force. You know, it's when the shit hits the fan for me in my personal life, sometimes I get all excited because I go, oh boy, this is turbulence. And it means that something's coming into manifestation that I didn't know was coming. And I'm all excited. I can't wait to get my prize, right? I just got to be patient and not really form any decisions about the shit hitting the fan. And then I come through it and I've forgotten all about it and I'm growing. So yeah, shit is something, it's funny, that was a forbidden word when I was growing up, but I find it
Yeah, me too.
really quite juicy in my old age.
Shit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, our kids used to think it was because they were young, so we would have people around us saying shit, yeah, and they would go, sheep, where? Where's the sheep? Because they weren't allowed to swear. So yeah, shit's been a shit. Look, shit is the void as well. It's the word shit and sewage and all these words is to reuse. And this is where they make you feel that you're not, we're here to reuse, meaning we're eternal. Like it's the ring. It just keeps going around. It's an orbit, it's a ring, we keep going around, we reuse. Rubbish, the same word. Compost, all the same words. Reuse. It's the dark soil. It's, yeah. So I love this show. Thank you so much for inviting me. I feel really touched that you asked me to come. So thank you.
Oh, my
Yeah.
pleasure. My pleasure. Like I've said before, most of my guests actually, except for maybe the ones that I've just met and haven't really had a chance to get to know, but it's almost like we're community. We form community. Doesn't matter where we are in the world, what time it is, what day of the week it is, just knowing that each other is there is a wonderful thing. Now, before we end the show today, Elsa and Brandon, do you folks want to tell people what your offerings are? How people can reach you? Some people will be listening to this on audio only, and so it's good to speak the actual website or YouTube channel name so that people can just remember. Plus, there's also auditory learners, so I want to also give you any last a few minutes for any last minute messages you might have or inspiration or whatever you want. Just go for it.
Our website is called spinbeings.com, and we've found in the last 6 months it's had like a filter on it, so sometimes you actually can't press the buttons. Richie goes, I keep pressing the buttons, it's not working, so you actually have to go to another server. So this is just what's happening to us. It's not an attack for me, it's just they're holding the information back, making it harder for you to get it, which is fine. We also do sessions, one-on-one sessions, because I have a lot of people send me really long emails, and I just can't respond to them because I've got to go and shovel stuff. So
Shit, yeah.
with the kids. Otherwise, they're like, what? Seriously, though, I love doing these one-on-one sessions. They're being profound, not just for myself and the other person, but their role in of the grand scheme. And that's been amazing in itself. We do one-on-one sessions. And then I just want to bring up Brandon's books, because I'm pretty sure it's still going ahead. I think Gigi's got her first covers. I mean, this is huge for our family. She's got, I think Brandon said 3 covers. I know one's definitely happened. And then our little girls have their drawings in as well. And this is the first time any of the Dillon family's work has been published. And we've been delayed. These are one of the things that has happened to us all year. We've been delayed in our publishings, but it was meant to happen through Brandon's original publishing house. So please go onto Amazon. He's got links everywhere for it. I've got links. And it's a great way. His books seem to be a great way to incorporate that information into your own day-to-day. And I think this is important, because a lot of people experiences share their story, but how does it incorporate into their world? And he's got activities through this that are just great. It's great insight. So yeah, have a look at that. And yeah, that's all we actually offer at the moment. We've got lots of things planned, but we just work our way through when it's allowed, when the universe sort of allows us to do it. It comes about really quickly. So that's where we're at. But we've got lots of things planned. So thank you, Karen.
Oh, you're welcome.
So cool. I love y'all both so much. This is so incredibly awesome. This is so incredibly awesome. We should definitely do this again. And thank you, Elsa, for the shout out. And you guys can find my show, Expanding Reality, pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. I think we're on like well over 40 different listener apps. We got on a way more than you should. We're also on the BitChute, I think Rockfin, YouTube, all of the things. You can just type in Expanding Reality or Expanding Reality Podcast. And it'll pop up there. We're not hard to find, as well as on all the socials. I think Expanding Reality 369 is what's going on Instagram over there. And yeah, so it's been an awesome thing with the show, and the show is just really just moved forward in leaps and bounds, and it's just been awesome and continues to be so, and just something I'm so grateful to be a part of. As well as the publishing houses Elsa mentioned. The Ridiginal Publishing is what it is, and it's ridiculously original is what that stands for. And created a series of journals. These I hand drew. It's pretty interesting when you dive into them and you start to find all of it's customizable, which is what that page shows you there. There are also pages that show you how to use this thing. It's sort of more of an intended use, an intended experience. You can use this, of course, however the hell you want. But this will kind of show you the breakdown and how I intended for it to be used, how I actually daily use this thing. And it's, again, something I just drew by hand. It's a journaling practice that I designed and used every day for like 8 months before I decided to turn it into a publication, just because, honestly, I got tired of drawing it every morning and then using it. So that turned into a whole series of journals, which, thank you, Elsa's family has contributed to. And yes, we have 2 more coming out very soon that feature 2 more covers from the famous Gigi here. And then the other journals are just designed to do different things. So they're an expansion series. These are, again, hand-drawn, but they're just a way to keep a list in a journal. Maybe that's what you want, to keep your journal in, as well as in the back when it'll show you that there's another journal that we have available in all of the books. There's 5 out right now in 2 different formats, hardback and then paperback as well. They'll feature pages from another journal. So you can test that out. And if you like it, then you can say, wow, I love that one. And then here's the second version of it. And it's full of that. And then when you go to the back of that one, you have the next version for the other one. So that if you like that, you can give that a try. And there's sample pages for those in there. So I drew all these. It's really cool. It's been a fun project. Version 2 is coming out very soon of the Mindful expansion, the 2 more with yours. And then this is the evening version. And that cover was done by Whitney Fox. And she's actually also illustrating a very special project of mine that I'm not ready to talk about yet. But all these are really cool. The creative expansion, which is the one the Dillon family is a part of, is our sketchbook series. It's basically for artists. And we featured about 40 different pages of different artists at the very beginning of this, just to showcase some of the things and some of the talent that's out there. Just very proud of the community and wanted to display some of it. As well as there's a quote by each author or author featured in the writing ones, and then artist featured in the drawing ones, or the creative expansion version of those. So it's really all about you. And the whole thing is I use all of these. Like I was setting up my project list for the publishing house in volume 2 over here earlier today. Like I made these things so I can use them. I just happen to put them out for other folks if you guys want to use them as well. And thank you, Elsa, as well, for the shout out for the video that you made. That was beautiful. Karen, you saw that based on some conversation?
Yes. Thank you. It was beautiful.
Beautiful. So thank you so much. And the journals can be found on Amazon for now, but we are working on going wider. I did this thing right. We built the foundation right. The ISBNs are ours and all that. So we're working on that and the infrastructure for that, as well as stay tuned for the events. We're going to have an awesome Bigfoot event in Georgia in May. We're working on the dates finalization, but Chris Mathieu is actually going to come be a presenter for that, as well as Alexander Petikoff, and we're going to the Bigfoot Museum out there, a bunch of hikes. We're renting a 25-acre place for everybody. So it's an amazing experience that we have putting together in May for everybody in the Southern Appalachian Mountains in Georgia. So I think that's it for me. I could, do this forever, Karen. So you got to tell me to shut up. But thank y'all so much for this. Honestly, this is incredible. Love you both.
Oh, you're very welcome. No, it's all good. I want to hear about everything. And I know that the listeners and the viewers do too, because how else will they know? And I highly recommend the journals, highly recommend them to everybody. And what a perfect gift, for somebody who has everything, or how you want to spend your Christmas money. This is a great way to do it. And you help support other people, podcasters, and, because we have all kinds of expenses to doing our podcasts and to making our information available. And it just helps. Every little bit helps. So yeah, absolutely wonderful. So it's been quite a year. I've appreciated both of you very, very much this year. And thank you for being my friends and for showing your support and everything. And thank you for everything you do. I love watching your videos, both of you, everything that comes out. It's juicy stuff. It's not dry at all. It's juicy. And it's the only word I can use to describe it, because it's satisfying. It's delicious. It's intellectually stimulating, and oh my gosh, you both do a fantastic job. And thank you so much. And I also want to thank all the listeners and the viewers, because without you, I wouldn't even have a show. I appreciate each and every one of you very much. Please feel free to leave a comment, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And I hope everyone's had a wonderful 2023. We've all learned a lot. And let's just make 2024 an exceptional year for personal growth, but also, when we change ourselves, we are changing the world. What a better form of activism. I can't think of a better form of activism than becoming the change we want to see in the world. So yeah, you're both amazing. And I'm just amazing. I love you so much. And everybody out there, take care. And we'll see you next week on the Quantum Guide Show. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton, and also the Aliens and Angels podcast on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.